so we went to the Reform Synagogue, and people there are not Jewish. This is something I've realized really quickly. And one of them was clearly like a British guy, a Liverpoolian British guy. I can see from his face, excuse me, everybody, he didn't have a drop of Jewish blood in him. There is no way on earth. And there was this gay couple next to him, like two girls. One of them was Irish, and the other one was half Jewish, but obviously the Jewish that has to go to Reform Synagogue, not only because she's gay, but like, let's say like being gay is more accepted than only having a father that is Jewish in an Orthodox synagogue. Like, and then he talked about like that he thinking like that those propalis, like they're like Nazis, right? And then and he spoke like, the working class Brit, which I think is so cute that he found a community going to the Reform Synagogue. Like, so cute, it was so cute, like good willing Brits, like you can see that. And his common sense is functional. And they try to shut him up. It's like, no, how dare you compare? Like, no, the Nazis are Nazis. Oh my God, you know what I told her? Like, they were like, these are people, you cannot compare them to the Nazis. That's what she said. Like, I saw it in front of me, like this person, and she felt free to do so. It was like so clear to me that they feel free to do so, because if somebody is talking in front of them that is working class, they feel free to do so, because you know why? I said things that are way more extreme than he did. And, and guess what? Nobody would shut me up, right? Because like nobody would talk to me the same way or try to minimize what I said the way they did to him.
I would
just
say,
like, and then, but just for fun, if you want to know what I said to her, and at some point I was like, well, they have the same ideology, you know that. And she's like, yeah, but you can't just go around call people Nazis, you don't know their story. And I said, you know what, like they're just like, they're people, like, and then at some point I was like, like, what are you saying? Like, the Nazis were people too. Are you saying the Nazis were not people? And she's like, yeah, but like, and I said, like, the Nazis were people. And I find it extremely offensive that you are suggesting that the Nazis were not people. In fact, a lot of them were way better people than some pro-Palis. In fact, like, there were more Nazis that helped Jews than there are Hamas members who help Jews. So I mean, an infinite amount more. And she's like, yeah, but and I was like, the more you're going to defend those pro-Palis, the more I'm going to defend Nazis. Do you really want to play this game? Or do you want to eat and have like a nice dinner? And then she went to the bathroom to cry, but she came back nice and smiling.
The reform movement is all about outreach and coexistence with wider society and integration, right? But there are elements that make it very, very lost. I'll give you an example. I went to a wedding a couple of months ago now, and I went to the like a community space, and they had flyers for different events that are happening, as well as for fundraisers, including asking people to host refugees. This was just over a year old, but the refugees they were asking to host were Syrians, which, given the recent events of what's happening in Syria with the massacre of the Druze and the Christian communities as well, the Alawites and so on.
Well, you should check the Syrians before as well, but yeah.
True. I'm not denying that either, but after...
like, funnily enough, some of the best allies we have, this is exactly how we got them.
Then I would have taken all of those flyers and binned them within 30 seconds. But they're there. The communities have them for over a year, right? And so that's the kind of mentality that you're dealing with. So whenever someone is talking about anything that is divisive, that is fundamentally disregarded. In my community growing up, we had an interfaith week where we invited the local mosque and church to our synagogue, which had security. So we let them all through security, showed them how everything worked, gave them the passcodes, right? And hosted an interfaith event, right? And at no point was that even discussed with the wider community. It was decided, well, this is the reform thing to do.
Yeah.
So I don't think it necessarily has to do with class. I think the guy was just not saying party lines. And you were not part of the community, so therefore you can say whatever you want. You're crazy. You're a crazy visitor. The aunt from Tel Aviv.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. Like, even in the Reform community, I think the most people, that's what they think.